All right, welcome back to video number 4 in the DIY Do-It-Yourself Bestseller video course with Justin Popovich and Brad Goss. Next question we want to address in video 4 here is, what is your book title? And it seems like such a simple question, and I probably would have kind of laughed at anybody else who told me I needed a whole lesson on this until I started talking to Brad. And Brad, not only your book, but a number of the projects that we've both been involved in with mutual clients and even watching you with some of your legacy clients over the years. Book title is enormous. It's possibly the most important step in the entire process, and we see countless authors still getting this step wrong. So what are some initial suggestions that you would give to people when it comes to titling your book?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm with you. To me, this I always knew that this was important, but I think a lot of people try and make this step easy, and they try and make it
Try to
blend
skip
in.
through it quick.
Yeah, they try and make it blend. And the best advice I can give, and I know this doesn't work for everybody. Some people are going to hear this and be like, "Well, yeah, that works for you," but I'm old and I do things differently, or whatever. Whatever you're thinking to yourself right now. Your title needs to be provocative. It needs to be juicy. It needs to offer. It needs to create so much curiosity. The sort of best analogy I can draw is, think of your book title as a magic trick, right? Like, I love the magic trick analogy because
you want to know the trick.
Yeah, we all want to. It's inherent, right? You walk by a magic shop, and the magician's in there, and the salesman's in there, and he's got his little tux on, and he's got some pom pom in one hand and the glass in the other hand, and he does some weird stuff, and boom, the pom pom's in the glass, and you're like, oh my god, how did he do that?
Right.
Well, you have to buy the trick to find it. Well, you know what? A lot of people just buy the trick just so they can find out how he did it, because he won't show you. He'll show you after you pay for the trick. He'll show you how to use it.
And then you let down.
Yes. Often you are, yes. There was a trick. Well, of course there was a trick. That's why you bought it, to find out what it was. It wasn't actually magic. Sorry. But your book title needs to be that magic trick. It needs to create that air of magic, and I think about some of the best book titles. I mean, you and I both read 4 Hour Workweek. And most people have heard of that book before.
Now
it's an interesting. Yeah, it's a brand. There's a 4 Hour brand now, and I own the 4 Hour Body. And we all want life to be easier, and we all want things. We all want shortcuts and
secret sauce.
Yeah, we all want to weigh in, right?
Yeah.
That's easy and fast, and doesn't require me to do all the work all the other chumps are doing, right? And that's why that book sells well, because we all know we're not going to end up working 4 hours a week, and even the author doesn't work a 4 hour work week. I can guarantee it. It's a mindset shift, and it promotes a radical lifestyle change that gives the buyer of that book says to themselves, if I can get halfway here, I'll be happy. If I can get 3/4 of the way to this, I'll be happy. It's so ridiculous that you have to drill down more, right?
Yeah.
And
well,
I don't know anybody.
It up because they want to look inside. Is there an answer on page 3, or what? How is he doing this?
Exactly. And so, yeah, you want to create that kind of, a title that is 101 blah, or how to blah blah blah, is boring. It just is, right? Like, I'm sorry, but it's just boring, right? Imagine you were writing a book about style for men, right? I'm just gonna let's just have a discussion about a book right now, right? Let's say you're writing a book about style for men, and you want that book to sell, right? If you write a book called A Man's Guide to Looking Good or something like that, it's going to be really hard to get noticed.
Right. But
book make your neighbor's wife jealous.
Yeah, exactly.
What? What if it was how to? If the title was more provocative, you'd buy it because it's provocative, because it offers you something unique and fun, as opposed to just another guide, another product, right? It's got to be edgy, right? You need a book title that sells. And what else, I think the biggest mistake people make, especially if you're an internet marketer and you're listening to this, is I'm just going to do keyword research and I'm going to do the SEO thing and I'm going to find a low-hanging fruit how-to title that nobody else has gotten the domain for, and I'm going to, I'm going to take that road. That is the worst road you're ever going to take in your entire life. Don't even think about that for a second. Keyword research is not important when it comes to your book title. It's just not. And I know a lot of SEO people are going to be barking at me for saying this, but it's just the truth. Your book title should be so awesome that it becomes a search term.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It should be the other way around. Like if you go on Google and you start typing chronic marketer, it starts to autofill all kinds of other results. Chronic marketer review, chronic marketer Amazon, chronic marketer download, all these different things people have been searching for. It's become its own search term. And you need to have a book title that can do that. And there's really no other way to do that than to just be provocative and be willing to shock someone.
Yeah. And even your little example there, I love the tip you always give in our various client meetings, which is to come up with picture words, or words that instill images, because everybody thinks in images anyways, right? If I tell you to think of your car in your driveway, you don't see the word CAR in your head. You literally see your car. And it's very, very powerful, because if your book can paint a picture immediately in my mind, I link it to something, and if it's got that curiosity factor as well, it's like I have to get this thing. I've got to pick it up and take a look inside. I just need to know, and it connects with people on a whole different level, and that's why Brad's example of how to 101 steps to be more efficient. Like nobody's going to buy that. It's terrible. And further to that, you can get a lot more creative when you're using picture words and when you're thinking along these lines. And this often comes in handy when you're trying to buy the domain for your book title. If you come up with your own word. I know you and I do this all the time, Brad, for ourselves, for our products, and for our clients, where we just invent a word and the domain happens to be available, but it's also a curiosity-inducing kind of thing. I don't know if I can come up with any specific examples now, because a lot of them are projects that we're working on. We can't necessarily disclose the details, but we've got tons of great examples where you just create your own word.
Well, I'll give you one that's outside of a book title. My company's in the process right now of developing an iPhone app. It's almost done. I've got the prototype on my phone. I've been playing with it, and it allows you to frame pictures essentially, right? But it's a little more business focused. So like some of the frames, one of the frames is like red curtains with microphones at the bottom, so it looks like you're doing like a press release or like a press conference. And there's like all these different today's special and all these different frames that you can put around pictures. So we ended up naming the product, because it's an app. We wanted the name to be short. We ended up calling it Frampix, Frampix. So think like a pharmaceutical company, right? Pharmaceutical companies these guys are wizards at coming up with product names that sound really good. Like Plavix and these types of
Yeah, and they're always short and punchy and easy to remember.
And they sound very, very official, but if you think about it, like a lot of really popular books on the shelf today are hybrids of two words. Like one of my favorite books is Freakonomics.
Yeah, good point.
Title, right? Because a book about I'm the last guy to buy a book about economics. Like two economists writing a book, it sounds. They put the word freak in front of it. And and I think their cover image was simply just an apple that was sliced in half, and there was an orange inside of it. Simple Photoshop job, but it created that curiosity. That single word made me want to drill down. What is this?
Yeah.
In the back, they had some cool facts that made you rethink the whole world around you, and so it makes you want to read more. So yeah, take two words and stick them together. One of my favorites, and again, I love pharmaceutical companies for this. They're the best. One of my favorite product names ever is Premarin. It's a drug for women who are going through menopause. It's like a hormone replacement therapy. But Premarin is a hybrid of three words. Premarin sounds really nice, but it comes from pregnant mare's urine. That's actually what's in the pill.
Oh my goodness.
It's made pee, and call it Premarin, and it sounds nice. So don't be afraid to take two or three words and and kind of pull out some vowels and consonants and see what happens.
Yeah, when you're going to give yourself a better chance at finding a domain for your book that's still available, and you can go and register it, which definitely helps, obviously.
Sorry, yeah, doing all this too, you definitely have to have a GoDaddy window open because you want to make sure that the .com is available. If it isn't, it's going to be a lot harder for you to brand. So I would still look for a .com domain in this day and age. If you can't find it and someone else has a website with that name, you may want to rethink your title. It's not life or death. I know a lot of successful authors have done it, and a lot of movies have been made with
.net or something, yeah.
Yeah, or the book at the end of the or whatever.
Yep.
It's not the end of the world. But something that is available as a domain. And the last tip would be think alliteration. Use multiple words with the same beginning consonant. Find combos of words that are fun to say and are punchy.
Yeah.
And also think about words that don't try not to use words that are hard to spell unless you're making up your own word. And if that's the case, then you'll get away with it. But for the most part, don't try and avoid words like for and you in books, because for you, we never know if it's the number 4 and the letter U, or like think it through, right? How is this? If I say your book title to a friend over the phone, are they going to mess it up? And if so, how will they mess it up?
Right. Great point. So there you go. Who would have thought we could talk that long about book titling? But when you think about it, it's the first thing. It's the first impression, and it's that little magic trick that Brad talked about in the beginning that could be the difference between a handful of sales and bestseller status. So take everything we said in this lesson very seriously and start brainstorming all the different ideas, different picture words, and everything else we've recommended, and start searching for domains to see if you come up with that perfect book title for you.
And watch for my new book, How to Make Your Neighbor's Wife Jealous.
Yeah, coming out next month.